The pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you all. This is the Mahoning County Commissioners' regular board meeting number 29. It is Thursday, July 25th at 10:03 a.m. And we will begin with public comments. And I ask for your name and address for the record, and you get 3 minutes.
I'll go.
Okay. Here, let me do it.
Like that,
You get it?
yeah.
Yeah, name and address. Yes, name and address.
Well, I'll probably just get that out in 3 minutes. Name's Kyle Chesa.
We won't cheat you on that time.
Right on, chief. From Earth, live here in Youngstown, 1935 Concord Avenue, west side. Boy, 3 minutes. That's gonna be a tough one. Last week was packed too, huh?
Uh-huh.
Guess what I'm getting at is 3 times in our nation's history. This part of the country's been an economic and industrial stronghold, coal, oil, and steel. Natural gas, we got smoke screened over on that one. I think that, everybody's right to sell their gas if they wanted to, but I think that could have all been done here. YSU was planning on building a part addition to the school. I know that because my step-pop's buddy donated like $5 million to it. Bud Williamson, he just recently passed. But they got shut down by the Fed, so did Pennsylvania. But anyways, long story short, I don't know if anybody knows this, up until 1928, California, Kentucky, and Ohio's #1 cash crop was hemp. They came in and did a couple things, and by the time World War II was over, everybody forgot all about that. And we got margarine and sweetener instead of butter and sugar. But anyways, I do believe that this part of the 3 minutes, I'm getting.
You're doing good.
Right.
You're doing good.
I do believe that part of the reason I'm back here from the West Coast, which I grew up around here, but believe in this part of the country, believe in our country altogether, is that you're not gonna find anywhere else in America where the warehouses are already there by rivers to turn hemp into paper. Now, unfortunately, a gentleman who was Mr. Stevenson, who passed away about 6 years ago, he designed chemicals for those guys to turn the bark into paper. 1 acre of hemp makes the same amount of paper as 4 acres of trees. 7 months for the tree hemp to grow, 25 years for the trees. You could do the math there, but you can turn. The reason I'm getting at this, Anthony, is that I think Youngstown could be, I do believe 100%, and to be a forefront in it. And I heard you guys talking last week, you mentioned something about $20 million projects and whatnot. Now, I don't expect anybody, take what I'm saying for, you do the homework for yourselves, but to turn hemp into to paper is it's a very simple process. You don't need much but hydrogen peroxide, some syrups, and to make it some type of a glucose or a binding agent, and pretty much that's it. And you have the rivers rolling by, and it's healthy for the rivers, and we'll be catching on fire. I mean, fish might be jumping out of the water a little bit more, but that might be about it. And hemp, when I got back from the West Coast, they said you'd never see social marijuana in Ohio. Well, it's here. I mean, and to me, that's just opening the door for industrial hemp. And I don't know where else to go with this. I did in Mercer County to the commissioners over there. I talked to Matt McConnell. I grew up with a good friend of Matt's. They kind of were like, yeah, we're working on it. But nothing ever really came of it, But I do believe that if this county and the people that have the means and ways to make that happen, it would be something to look into, at least like a 5-year term project. That's part of the reasons why I came back.
20 seconds, sorry.
3 seconds?
20
seconds. Another reason why is some major events happened in the last 15, 20 years, and it was West Coast well aware of it. And I called back Ohio, Pennsylvania, Florida, where all my family was, and nobody got wind of it. Like, the one issue, and I'll close with that. There's a whirlpool the size of Texas in the South Pacific, where the oceans for the last 15 years have been gathering plastic from around the world, where we pollute it, bring it to this part of the South Pacific. They discovered it mainly because people were looking for oil. Our admirals didn't even know about it. And it made mainstream West Coast news. And I called back here, nobody knew about it. But what I'm saying is, you guys have the ability to turn, and I'll bring more, anything I'll give you my phone number. I'm all about it happening here. And I heard there's possibly a paper mill coming around in the next couple of years. I don't know if you guys know anything about that in the area. And I would imagine that the people are thinking about going with the hemp, because anyway, I appreciate everybody's time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Didn't George Washington smoke hemp?
Oh, yeah,
Huh?
you sure did. Mary, we leave the flags with it, but appreciate your time very much.
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Very good info. Terry.
I hope you guys do really think about that, though.
Terrence Piosarko, 127 East Grand Street, Lowellville, Ohio. I'm talking, we should study the Project 2025 that's being sponsored by the Heritage Foundation, financed by the Koch family. Used to be the Koch brothers, but now it's down to one brother, so I'll say the Koch family. It's a very dangerous agenda. It will take a lot of rights away from everyone except the top 1%. First, they would go after education. They'll cut the Department of Education on local, state, and federal levels and destroy unions and the way we teach the kids. And the rights away from the minorities, from the gay people, like LGBT women. Women would have to get an okay by their husband or an older male adult to get an application for credit if this goes through. It has to be read. People are saying this is the sequel to Mein Kampf. And you know what happened when people read Mein Kampf? Read it, and we have to get involved. We have to stop this 2025 project in its infancy. It's dangerous. And for hemp, we've been using hemp, United States has been using hemp since George Washington days. He grew it. Many of our forefathers grew it for financial reasons. And one time I was going to Clemens and we stopped at a hemp store and you could buy hemp hemp can make blue jeans, hair shampoo, everyday products, and it is better for the environment. Even people used hemp for a while for using for gasoline for their cars. It's a very interesting history on hemp. And marijuana wasn't illegal until after Prohibition. The government needed a drug to go after. People after Prohibition was eliminated. The government needed a job to do, so they went after marijuana. Marijuana was never an illegal drug until after Prohibition ended.
That's what was pure.
Great history there.
Yeah.
They all were derivatives from a natural grown plant.
Mhm.
That's when it was pure though.
Right.
Now it's laced.
Male plants, yeah. Female plants, they use for medicinal and social. It's two different plants.
Ah.
There's no THC in the male plant.
That's correct.
But the money that you could boost, if you got one contract, say you just got McDonald's, paper from McDonald's,
Thank you.
it's just in the United States.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Debbie Lipinski. I live at 6928 Glenwood Avenue. I've come to talk about the roundabout at Glenwood and Wildwood. I realize Youngstown brought this to the front when they did Midlothian. There was a study done, I guess, in Boardman saying that there was a lot of accidents. I'm not sure if that study was true because I live on that street and I've never seen a cop there, but I just think this is going to cause a disaster at maybe not the bike lanes, that they want to change this to a 3-lane street, Glenwood, and there's going to add bike lanes. I'm more concerned about what's going to happen at 224.
Boardman.
Yeah.
Boardman.
It doesn't seem like it, but like right now is summertime, there's not a lot of traffic, but there's school in the fall and that becomes a very busy area. Anytime Boardman Schools lets out, there's traffic. I'm not sure if people were thinking in the long, they're thinking about that immediate roundabout, but this causes it's a chain reaction. It's going to cause problems at 224. The bottom line is I say give the money back because quite frankly, it's going to cause more problems than it's worth. But the bike lanes, I think 2 people have rode down Midlothian and the whole time it's been there so far. it's not, I really don't think it's worth it, but, for all it's worth, I hope you guys really think about this.
You're right about Midlothian, just to start there. That bike path strip that was put up there, it causes the roads to veer into one lane. People are trying to jump in front of in front of the car that's them because they only got about 50 feet of road until it merges over. There's been a lot of accidents. So we should be expanding roads, not shrinking them. And somebody will get killed there if somebody's not paying attention, particularly if somebody is riding a bike there. Because at rush hour and at holiday seasons, if people aren't paying attention, that could become disastrous. So
There was, and this is all the different project, but at Midlothian Market, I've asked the state to reline that one road or reline the turning lane, and I don't get any response. Like, it needs to be bigger. Like, there's too many people turning and it causes backup into Southern Boulevard. So I don't know. I just wanted to voice my opinion, and for whatever it's worth. So.
I don't know if Mr. Genetti's familiar with that project or not. Pat, did you hear the?
Yeah, I actually spoke to her yesterday. The Glenwood Avenue project is a federally funded project that there's a misconception sometimes on what's known as a road diet. We are taking Glenwood Avenue from 4 lanes to 3 lanes, which will provide much more efficient and safe travels for the driving public. And part of that project is to include bike lanes, so there's connectivity to Mill Creek Park. Obviously much different than Midlothian Boulevard because you don't have the lane shifts like you do on Midlothian. The roundabout that's coming in at the intersection of Glenwood and Wildwood is based on ODOT and Federal Highway crash counts, and there have been a number of fatalities at that intersection. And after a study was done, it was determined that the roundabout is the best solution to mitigate the fatal crashes that have occurred there. Some people like roundabouts, some people don't. The fact of the matter is they work. They don't eliminate accidents completely, but they drastically reduce the severity of accidents. You're still going to have side swipes and rear end collisions because of driver error, but they do work, and they do work well.
Okay.
I guess my question is to like actually, I could live with the roundabout, but the problem is 224 and the effects it's going to have in everyday life for people. Nobody's given that a thought, and it's going to cause a problem.
Didn't they have any public hearings on this? Did they invite the public to show the drawings of this? Did anybody show up?
They're not at that stage yet.
Okay.
I'm trying to catch.
224 is being included. Again, 224 is under the Department of Transportation, but that's going to be looked at as part of this project.
Pat, will they have public hearings on that?
I'm not sure, Carol. Again, that's the Department of Transportation.
So I would maybe call.
Hey, Township, because that's probably where they'll hold it. Boardman. That's where they did the last one. Okay, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Pat. Next. Sam's.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Tressa, Senior Project Manager and Estimator at Rudzik Excavating, 401 Lovell Road, Struthers, Ohio. Last week, you passed a resolution formally rejecting my bids. I'm expecting a certified letter in the mail, but I've yet to receive one. I thought the secret meeting on Friday after the 4th was part of an expedited plan to get these projects moving. It's been a week and there's still no movement.
There was no secret.
Either way, you will now spend an additional $442,953 of hard-earned taxpayer money. And what will the taxpayers get in return? The job is the same. The materials are the same. There will be nothing to show for the reckless waste of nearly $500,000. Dave, you say the PLA cuts down on change orders. How exactly does it do that? Change orders occur when there's an unforeseen, which brings additional cost to the project, whether the plans have an error, there's a conflict in the field that could not be reasonably anticipated. How does the PLA avoid this? You say the PLA provides for timely completion. How? The PLA will reduce the hours my crews can work, in turn reducing the production, which expands the project schedule and causes a longer completion time. This isn't misinformation. It's in the PLA, and I submitted questions specifically relating to the working hours, and you responded in writing by saying, quote, "This will need to be addressed with the union," end quote. This is not misinformation. These are facts. Dave, you say the PLA helps if you have 10 jobs and only 20 employees. If a company cannot staff these two projects, they should not be bidding them. If I can't staff it, I'm not bidding it. It's that easy. Last week, you mentioned the county paving program where the company comes in for a week and then leaves the site, comes back and leaves the site. You said if there was a PLA, this wouldn't happen because staffing would be provided. Let's label that misinformation. Because I must remind you, that company is a union company. That's the Shelley Company, and they can go to the hall whenever they want to get workers. They don't need a PLA for that. The PLA would not help them. I know this because I have two very good friends on that specific crew. I rode the school bus with these guys, and they had my back like I have theirs. I spoke with both of them this morning. So believe me when I tell you, I'm up to speed on this one. The PLA would not help, no matter how many times you say it would. Regarding the two PLA projects you're forcing the taxpayers to pay more for, these projects do not necessitate the use of PLAs. You are directing work. And now you're going to threaten another local small business with signing the PLA and backing their bond. Now that is political. You could have had a company perform the work that is qualified to complete a complicated $20 million sewer project. Instead, you made moves for political favor and demand the taxpayers foot the bill. I'm not making this political. I'm fighting for my company and I'm fighting for the taxpayer. You should have the courage to go on radio and explain to the taxpayers why exactly this is in their best interest, but you won't. Instead, the taxpayer must pay more and not question it. You and anyone else has an open invitation to tell the taxpayers what exactly I'm saying that is false. And I look forward to the opportunity.
Thank you. Next. Other public comments? Nita Davis, welcome. Nice to see you here.
Good.
Absolutely. Come on up.
I hadn't planned on this.
Let everybody know who you are and what you do.
I'm Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Admiral Star Trek. Okay. Hi, my name is Anita Davis, and I'm with Youngstown City Council. I represent the 6th Ward. I hadn't planned on actually speaking, but since a couple of comments were made up that kind of affect my ward, mainly Midlothian, just to tell you that more than any one person in this place, I probably ride Midlothian more than anyone here because I live the next street over. Okay. So I can tell you that, number one, there are a lot of people riding in that bike lane. There are a lot of people. They're riding it constantly. They're riding my ward constantly on bicycles. One of the reasons why, and keep me to the clock, okay, is that, over 35% of Youngstown is without a driver's license, and the bicycle is a major substitution of transportation, particularly during the summer hours. I did not like how they did the street originally, but I can see that the benefit of it for the bicyclists presently and in the future, because that is going to end up being one of the alternative methods of transportation. You can believe that. So there are going to be more and more people on bikes because they don't have the money to buy new cars. Where are? So am I. But that's just to address your thing, madam, about the streets. We have 3 lanes on Midlothian. It's very awkward right now because everyone is used to having the 4 lanes, 2 in each direction, and they're not paying attention. And it irks me that they're not paying attention. I was a traffic cop as well. I did 36 years at Youngstown Police Department, and traffic was my specialty. And people do need to pay attention while they're driving. Look at the signs that says it's 1 lane up, 1 lane down, and a turning lane. Secondly, the gentleman there, City of Youngstown, at the Youngstown City Council, we do have a committee that deals with sustainability that might, you sir, that, yeah, you might want to attend one of these meetings, the sustainability.
Pardon me, I missed what you said.
Okay.
Sustainability meeting?
Youngstown City Council, there's a committee that deals with sustainability. That might be some where you might want to address your topic about
I appreciate the information. Maybe you can, I need to find out when it meets again.
Secondly, what I really want to tell you, Monday, here's my sales pitch. Monday, 4 o'clock, Youngstown City Council, our special summer recess meeting. Our regular meeting is at 4 o'clock for finance and 5 o'clock directly afterwards for the city council meeting.
Are they still
A
here?
normal portion of it. So that's Youngstown City Council this coming Monday at 4 o'clock.
Are you still having them here? Or are you over at the Cavelli?
I think, ladies and gentlemen, we're everywhere. We're like hobos. We don't have a home right now. We don't, we can't use our council chamber. I think this week, this coming Monday, we're at Cavelli, and then the next one is they're gonna be begging to come here.
Okay.
We don't have, we don't have a home right now. We're homeless.
Well, you could use us, our place.
But by the way, I love this. This is what we're copying when we're doing our upgrades at city council.
Ah,
Yes.
nice.
Good deal.
I'm so impressed.
Thanks.
So
Thank you.
thank you for it, and see you guys Monday.
One thing I got to say about Anita, and I know a lot of people in your ward, that when they call you, you call them back. So I had
Yep.
to let you know that. Thank you for doing that. Okay, anyone else?
All right, let's go.
Okay,
No. Sorry.
we didn't have such a busy day. We would. Thank you, though. Okay. Motion to approve the previous minutes of board meeting 28 and approval of bills for payment.
Motion for the approval of previous minutes from board meeting number 28, Thursday, July 18, 2024, and approval of bills for payment.
Second. Roll call?
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes.
Commissioner Remedy?
Yes.
Yes. Journal entry number 1.
Motion to approve journal entry number 1.
Second. Roll call?
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes.
Commissioner Remedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Traficant?
Yes. Travels 2A, lead. Mr. Courier?
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a travel to attend the National Lead and Healthy Homes Conference in Savannah, Georgia, August 19th to the 23rd. For Dan and myself, estimated at $3,800 non-general.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to approve number 2, travels A.
Second. Roll call?
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes.
Commissioner Remedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Traficant?
Yes, agreements, letters A through H, and we'll begin with the Juvenile Justice Center.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is an agreement with the University of Cincinnati Research Institute to participate in training in the amount of $2,928.58 non-general.
Okay, thank you. B and C, lead, Phil?
B is an agreement with the Howland Company LLC for lead hazard control and healthy homes work at 101 North Portland in the amount of $20,634.75. And letter C is an agreement with the Howland Company as well for lead hazard control and healthy homes work at 142 through 146 Belmont in the amount of $59,611. That is three units. Both of those are non-general.
Thank you. And sanitary, Pat?
Commissioners, letter D is an agreement with APO Horror Company to remodel and rebuild the ferric chloride building. This is a tongue tire here. For new polyaluminum chloride tanks at the Meander wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $23,500. These are non-general funds. Letter E is an agreement with utility contracting for the replacement of multiple fire hydrants throughout the Jackson Milton water system in the amount of $55,630. These are also non-general funds. And letter F is an agreement with 42 Inc. For the exhibit assembly, support structures, transportation, removal of the display at the Canfield Fair in the estimated amount of $4,768.84. Also non-general funds.
Okay, thank you. And G&H Sheriff, Mr. Beers.
Good morning, everyone. Commissioners, G is an agreement with Strategies Company for the dishonesty bond, pension insurance policy. So a 3-year policy in the amount of $2,313 non-general. H is a First Amendment to the memorandum of understanding with the Children's Services Board for investigator and service security service payable to Mahoning County.
Thank you, sir. Carol?
Motion to approve number 3, agreements A through H.
Second. Roll call?
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes.
Commissioner Remedy Agati?
Yes.
Commissioner Trafficante?
Yes, resolutions.
Motion to approve resolutions number one additions.
Second. Roll call.
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes.
Commissioner Remedy Agati?
Yes.
Commissioner Trafficante?
Yes, moving on. We have resolutions, letters A through K, and I will do letter A. Resolutions to accept the One Ohio subdivision settlement pursuant to One Ohio Memorandum of Understanding and consistence with the terms of the National Opioid Settlement Agreement and execute participation agreements with Janssen, Teva, Allergan, CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, and Kroger. Audrey, is there anything you wanted to add to that or no?
No, this is basically, as the state makes their settlements, state or nation makes those settlements, then the county becomes as a signature to those and basically will additional funding as they come through.
Okay, thank you. And letter B, Commissioners O and B, Jen?
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is just a resolution to establish a new agency fund for the Austintown Boardman Mahoning County Joint Communications District.
Thank you. And letter C, Engineers, Pat.
Commissioners, letter C is a resolution to accept the assignment from Panoni Associates to DLZ Ohio for the bridge load rating services at the same terms and conditions. Panoni was acquired by DLZ recently.
Okay, thank you. And Facilities, D and E, Alan.
Morning, Commissioners. D is a resolution of necessity to purchase supplies, miscellaneous parts, and services from S.A. Cominel through the GSA State Cooperative Purchasing Program in excess of the $75,000 threshold for the year 2024. E is a resolution approving the moral obligation payment of $5,029.50 Silco Fire and Security for additional fire safety services at the Justice Center.
Okay, thanks, Alan. And Grants Management, Anna?
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioners, this is a resolution to approve the agreements, amendments, and expenditures with the following agencies funded by the American Rescue Plan Act. Poland Township, $136,444. Youngstown Botanical Garden, $25,000. Catholic Charities, $54,811.
Thank you very much. And Human Resources, Dina.
Commissioners, this is a resolution to enter into agreement, I'm so sorry, and to accept the collective bargaining agreement with the International Brotherhood of Teamsters Local 377 effective July 1st, 2024.
Thank you, Dina. And Sanitary, H&I.
Commissioners, letter H is a resolution to enter into an agreement with IAG Consulting to provide professional engineering services for the Wilson Avenue Pump Station replacement. This is improvement number 545 in the amount of $248,700. These are non-general funds. And letter I is a resolution approving the appointment of 2 treatment plan aides for the sanitary department.
Okay, thanks, Pat. Sheriff?
Commissioners, J is a resolution in support of a grant application to the Ohio Attorney General for the Law Enforcement Diversion Program in the amount of $83,000 to implement quick response team with no match required. And K is a resolution in support of a grant application to the Office of Criminal Justice Services for the fiscal year 2024. This is for the residential substance use disorder treatment in the amount of $227,520. And that's with a 25% local match.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Carol?
Motion to approve number 2 resolutions A through K.
Second. Roll call?
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes.
Commissioner Remedy Agati?
Yes.
Commissioner Trafficante?
Yes, and for the good of the order, any elected officials or department heads would like to comment? Anybody on the screen? Okay. Carol, Dave?
Well, sure, let me go first because I have lots to say.
I just there's a lot going on in Mahoning County with festivals and fairs, and even in Niles with Warren with St. Demetrius, the Greek Festival, which is probably one of the biggest ones in the state of Ohio. But we have Our Lady of Mount Carmel, which is actually very big. We have the Arts Festival this weekend as well, and that's down at the amphitheater. And I know I'm thinking this, but those are all like ones I normally.
Doing a good job.
And I'm going to those, actually. Another thing I have to say is, and I know Dave or Anthony will probably add to this, but I have about had it with listening to the same rhetoric every meeting about the PLA. It's wrong. And everything that he's saying is not correct. It's been corrected. He's been told that. And I have my own opinion, and that is this. And Jimmy, you could correct me if I'm wrong. You pick up the packet to bid on a project, correct?
Yes, they're picked up at the sanitary engineers.
They're picked up at sanitary, all right. Then they're dropped off. Now, there was a hiccup in that. It was corrected. They got more time, all right. Once you pick up this packet, you look at it, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. Maybe you just say, well, I'm going to cause controversy, so I'm not going to look at it. And I'm just going to be vocal about something that doesn't exist. You look at the changes that were in the PLA, it doesn't reference them to be in a union at all. And the sad part is, I don't know what part of this agreement he's looking at, but you look at the packet, you fill it out, you come back to your department, Jim,
Yes, they're submitted to purchasing
and
department.
what's the fee?
The fee on those, I'm not sure what they were. Pat would be able to know.
Pat, what's the fee on those?
Typically $50.
All right, well, you do all of this and you submit it, knowing that you're going to come in here and cause this rhetoric every meeting we have. And none of it's true. So that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not going to address this anymore because it's craziness. I do believe at this point, it's become very political, in my opinion. And I've been around a long time.
It sounded like.
Thank you. Sorry.
No,
It's tired of it.
I know.
Usually when somebody says they're not doing it for that reason.
Well, it's obviously that, Mr. Tressa has done nothing but make it political since day one. That's been the agenda. 4 years ago, he came and the rhetoric started. 4 years before that, it's only election time. And the amazing thing is that this is a policy decision put in place in 2008. And it was, I think, updated one time because of legal changes. And in the last 10 years that I've looked into, and I may not be 100% accurate, Jimmy could probably correct me, but there's been 6 PLAs in 10 years placed in the bids, of which time there's been hundreds of jobs awarded in the county that has been given out and awarded. PLAs, as a norm, the majority of time, they promote safe, professional, timely completion of critical infrastructure jobs in the county. And that's when they're placed, when it necessitates that. Never does a PLA require that a non-union company can not bid on it. Non-union companies bid on PLAs. PLA jobs. PLAs don't require a non-union company to become a union. They don't require any of their workers to join the union. They don't require them to pay union dues. Yet Mr. Tressa, the self-proclaimed expert on the ORC, comes and talks about questions that his questions, he could have Googled on his cell phone and got the answers to all of them within seconds, as we did, just to show him that they could be done. And, so when you talk political, where is his direction on every time he comes here at me, right? Because I'm the only one with opponent up for reelection. But my opponent favored PLAs. My opponent agreed with PLAs in all of his interviews in trying to seek union endorsements. And so it truly has been a political issue, become a political issue. And the fact that hundreds of jobs have been given out, and just in the engineers end of it, sanitary and the road engineer, Pat Chinetti, is responsible departments. There's been $108 million in jobs in projects in the last 4 years awarded, in the last maybe 4 to 6 years awarded, 51 jobs. And the only one that secured more dollars worth of jobs than Rudzik is Marucci and Gaffney, both in excess of $20 million of the jobs that have been awarded. So to turn 6 PLAs in 10 years into an issue and to misrepresent the process and the increase, and I will guarantee you that it won't be $500,000 worth of expenses that are increased by the taxpayers of Mahoning County. And I will also say that it's our opinion, and I think I speak for the board, that the policy decision for PLAs, if in effect on the realty building, may have prevented someone from being killed. So if you can place a value on human life, both on job sites and in accidents by companies of employees, if you can place a value on people's lives, then I think it's much more than $500,000. So to save a life or potentially save a life because of a policy decision is a decision I'll make every time. So, and only 6 times, because we've been very selective where we place them. Trumbull County has a PLA in place. They place them in every job in excess of $100,000 according to their resolution. So we do it in excess of $1 million. So not political, definitely political. So, and it's a sad thing that, that this board over the last 4 years alone, has provided building permits. Our county, on permits alone, has had new construction to the tune of $1.12 billion over the last 4 years. And the projects we've been able to bid out and to help with the CIC, the Community Improvement Corporation, that's administered by the county commissioners. We put out millions of dollars in projects because of carryover, because of dollars that our prudent spending and conservative approach has allowed the county to build. We've been able to increase the community development block grants for local communities. We've put out infrastructure jobs that are second to none. Pat Giannetti with our road resurfacing program, I believe Pat told me 138 roads in the last 2 years. And, those numbers are staggering because of the work we've done collectively. And you've got a company out of, I don't know, political patronage or greed or whatever it is in their mind that come and try to substantiate what we're doing and how we do it is absolutely ridiculous. Because if you look at the big picture, nothing but growing, nothing but doing good things countywide. And speaking of good things countywide, I will leave it on one more note. I went to the presentation of Zotic, if I pronounce it properly, over next to the Penguin Brewery. An amazing accumulation of people from, I believe they said 10 different countries. I sat at a table with two gentlemen from Korea, and they were the chairman and the president of multi-billion-dollar companies. And I was taken back because I've been to Korea many times, in my last job when I was the global sales director, and had an opportunity to deal with our company there and to negotiate contracts with Texas Instruments, and I absolutely loved Korea, and I talked to him, and how everybody says when oh, I've been there, and I told him I've been there, been to your country several times, and I absolutely loved it, and he said, where were you? And and then I got into a lot of detail. While I flew into Incheon, I stayed in Seoul, stayed at the Hotel Lotte, which was amazing, the nicest hotel I've ever been at in the world. I had to drive from Seoul for 3 hours to a little town called Cheongju, and where Texas Instruments was. And I said, I went from paying $400 a night in the Hotel Lotte to $35 a night in Cheongju on a dirt road, stayed in a hotel room that had a discotheque 4 floors above me. And all you heard was the reverberation of and it was the only hotel within the town. And told him all my wives my wife and all the women that I worked with made me go to the Itaewon, the shopping district, and buy them like Pradas and all the knockoff purses. And I did a terrible job because they were all bad, fake looking and terrible. And I said, never send me for that again. And, we talked about, just cultures and companies, and these people were all there, and they were there for, because they're investing in what Zotic does, and they're investing in the technology to try and reduce energy costs. And it was just an amazing group. And I was fortunate to be there to represent the board, and Mayor Tito Brown was there as well. And it was Tim Ryan is involved with the company. He was present as well. It was something that, that we, knock on wood, hopefully, can bring a savings of energy savings, because let's all face it, energy costs, especially in manufacturing, in government, to operate buildings and facilities. The bills are through the roof on those entities. So hopefully we can get a reduction there. We can do things. And one of the caveats of the entire 4-hour presentation and event throughout the day there was that there were people there that were advocates of the program that I got an opportunity to meet. One in particular was Julius Erving, Dr. J, the basketball player that played, so I mean, you can't not recognize somebody walking through that's about 6'8", and you see that face, and one of the young ladies was sitting at our table. She said, "Who's that?" And I said, "Did you ever hear of Michael Jordan?" And she went, "That's Michael Jordan?" And I said, No. He was Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan." But that was a caveat or a privilege afterwards. But it's important to become global and to understand and to know things, and to be able to facilitate our community having a business that can expand globally right here in Youngstown, and be able to get in the technology belt and get in cutting edge, and to play off of YBI, the incubator, and 3D printing, and all the things that have become, so that we're no longer referenced as the Rust Belt, but the technology belt, so hopefully that, these things materialize and help us in the long run to create jobs and opportunities for people.
So Dave, that was, actually, this company will then hopefully down the road, remove the Freon. And this would like replace the Freon, like with air conditioners and so forth.
Well, I don't think they use Freon anymore. It's already been, there's a new,
Synthetic?
there's a new, gas that they use is, yeah, I'm not sure, but you can do it yourself. No longer do you have to worry about capturing Freon and putting Freon in. You can do it yourself. But this, their technology is supposed to assist in those refrigeration opportunities, 15 to 30% the energy cost to do the same thing that the gases that are utilized today do. So hopefully, it's something that we can look at in the long run.
Good deal.
I wish you could show the picture. Oh, you and Dr. J. I have it on my phone. It's like this. That's amazing. And it was funny. I loved to have met him. What was funny was I asked the gentleman that was sitting at the table with us if he'd take a picture of you. And when I stood next to him, I think he held the camera around Dr. J's waistline, to make sure they got me in the photo because I probably was only up to about his armpit, but yeah, he was very professional, very eloquent, and was something to be able to talk to him. It's pretty neat. It is. Well, I got to say, Dave, I think you've had an amazing career in private sector and all the traveling that he has done and all the parts of the world Dave has seen. I just find that to be amazing. You name those places, and I'll never be in Korea in my life. And you've been there many, many times. I just find that miraculous. The thing that amazes me is, you spin me around and I get lost. I don't have a great sense of direction. But, today it's easy with GPSs and everything. But the first trip I ever made to Europe was 1997. And I went for business classes in Zeist of the Netherlands, flew into Amsterdam, and I was given a rental car. And rental cars back then, they only have manual shifts, which is okay with me. I love it, because I grew up on a manual shift. But now you're on the Autobahn. Cars are going 100 miles an hour. There's no GPSs, there's no cell phones, and I got a map. And I get dropped into Europe in Holland, and I got to drive through. I don't know how many hours it was. It wasn't a long distance, but it took me hours because you've got a map, and the thing that nobody ever warned me about is the map's in Dutch. So did you learn that too? Well, I learned what asphalt means. It meant exit. and I learned, real quick when I pulled off the road and started saying, okay, now let's figure out what this is, and try to, make sure I was there. And the thing that we take for granted here in the United States, if I miss the Western Reserve or exit or the, downtown exit, I get off, I come over and I get back on, right? You miss an exit on the Autobahn, you may drive 100 miles before there's another entrance. Oh, God. There's not an entrance at every exit. And there's no north, south, east, and west on any map. I drove around. The maps there have the last city on that route as the direction. So you may be traveling in X direction and it says Cologne. So that you're driving towards Cologne, but if you don't know where Cologne's at, you're in big trouble. You don't know what direction it is. So it was, the first time I went, and after that, believe me, I got better prepared. So, especially when I went through Tokyo, Narita, and then to Korea. But
I would have had to have a driveway.
But you know what? I was blessed to have a lot of opportunities, and in 30 plus years, selling steel to the ammunition industry, the bearing industry, and the technology industry. We supplied a lot of global companies that did great work, and like Timken, Torrington Bearing, Garlock Bearing Worldwide, Texas Instruments, and then just ammunition industries domestically in North America and in Mexico. So it was something I wouldn't trade for the world, but at today's time in my life, I wouldn't want to get on a plane for 10 to 19 hours at a time so often, but I'd love to go back though for vacation.
You gotta go to Italy.
I've been to Venice for a week. It's the only place in Italy, because, that I went to, and it was just amazing. It was amazing.
I've been there a few times. All right, well, that's very interesting. Okay, when's our next meeting?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Yes.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Ditzler,
Yes.
Commissioner Remedy Agati.
Yes.
Commissioner Trafficant.
Yes, thank you.